Hey, I'm Devin, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. DJENT. So I use these binder clips to keep it in tune, and then just recorded everything with an SM57. And really the only issue I ran into while recording was doing guitar. I had to really make sure to not make any extra noise while recording. So if my fingers were hitting it or rubbing against me or anything, that would get picked up and put through the amp sim, which does not sound good or clean at all. For cymbals, I knew I could just scratch the side and manipulate that audio. For snare, I thought to try and snap the elastic, just because that was a higher pitched sound than just hitting it. And then for kick, obvious, just hitting it. Okay, let's go over this mix. I'm just going to leave the master chain on to have consistent volume while I'm showing you. All this is like a little bit of EQ, compression, saturation, and then bringing it up to level. And usually I mix into some sort of mastering chain anyway, and I'll go over it at the end. Here, I'll let you hear the unmixed version. Let's beef it up. I'll start with the guitars. They are double tracked, pan left and right. And we have Archetype, Gojira, just default preset, and I think I turned the gain down a bit because you lose definition if it's up more, and rubber bands don't have a lot of definition. So I'll let you hear what that sounds like. So I chose there. I feel like that had the most definition in the pick attacks while having some beef to it as well. Next thing here, we have this EQ. Just brightening it up. These rubber bands are very dull, so there's a lot of EQ brightening up stuff here. The Pultec doing this low end trick. If you boost and attenuate the same frequency here, these knobs aren't on the exact same frequencies, so you kind of end up with a more scooped sound. And then I'm just boosting the super high end here. And then I have a compressor, and the goal of this is to add a little more attack to the guitars. I'll exaggerate it so you can hear what the goal is. Hear how the pick attack, or it starts pretty hard right off the bat, and then the compression comes in. That's kind of the goal, and I had it down here. Just adding a little bit of attack. Another EQ. Controlling the weird low mids and making it brighter again. Another EQ. You can hear these things ringing. Definitely hear that. Another EQ. Brighter again. Another EQ. Smoothing it out. Usually I don't do this many EQs, but I haven't EQ'd rubber bands before. And now we have just multiband dynamics controlling the boominess. And then we have a limiter catching peaks. And then a little bit of soothe. So before everything. a lot brighter. And by itself, maybe it sounds too bright or thin, but in the mix, that's what worked. So the bass guitar was just this guitar track duplicated, copied down here, and pitched down an octave. And we have parallax on here. Dave Otero grind preset. Don't think I changed anything to it. Compression, really hard. Kind of a slower attack, fastest release. This is usually the setting I use on all metal bass, and usually I'm going for -10, but it's a rubber band. Sounds really mid-heavy, so we have this EQ, making it sound more like a bass. Lots more low end. Limiter. Needs to be really controlled. Another EQ, smoothing it out. Less mids as well, again. And this multi-band compressor is just compressing upper mids and around 200. And then this band is side chained to the kick, so it dips every time the kick plays. It's a good way to have the kick and bass gel together. Another EQ, more subtle. And then soothe. Before. Kind of clunky. A lot more powerful, sounds more like a bass guitar. Let's move on to the drums. For the cymbals, I just scratched the side. And I knew I could put a vocoder on it and have it pretty much sound like something that sounds like a cymbal right away. Just turn up the release a little to give it sustain. And to give it a more metallic, cymbal-y sound, I thought I could use this Spectral Resonator metallic tail preset. Yeah, this EQ. I don't know what this dip is doing. Probably don't need it. Just brightening them up. Then I have saturator. I have this Real ADT plugin. 2 guitars are better than 1 preset, kind of just giving it a stereo feel. I have another vocoder. I guess I wanted a little bit more white noise sound. It's a little smoother as well. Little compression. And then soothe. For the snare, we have this little tick sound. We have a vocoder on that. The vocoder makes it sound a little more like a snare. And then we have saturation and this EQ. And I'm rolling off all this low end because we have this exact sound copied down here and pitched down 8 semitones for the body of the snare. And we just have saturation and EQ on this. Then on the snare group, we have compression. We have a gate just in case there's noise. Probably don't really need it because there's no bleed or anything. This EQ, a lot more body. Saturation. Not affecting the fundamental though, I just wanted the top. Saturation helps transients be softer and less pokey, less peaky. It just smooths them out a little bit. This is just making the top end of each hit a little more consistent with one another. and then another EQ. Now we have the snare going to a return track that has reverb on it. Just this golden plate preset. The kick. For the kick, we have a EQ. Immediately sounding more like a metal kick drum. Scoop in the mids here. Boost the lows and highs. We have Ableton Saturator, which gives... I like what it does on kicks. Just adds a lot. We have a gate, probably don't need it. We have another EQ. Then we have compression, saturation. Again, split just on the top end. That's a little bit of a crazier EQ. All these smaller moves would be being made towards the end of a mix, just for fine balancing. Things I feel that need to happen. And then we have soothe on the kick, which I usually don't do. Let's hear before. After. Sounds like a metal kick. I also have a drum room here that the drum bus is going through. Just large wood room preset, and a little bit of compression, some EQ. I usually roll off like 6.5K on rooms and 100 hertz. I don't like cymbals in my room, so I try and get rid of them. And then on the drum group, we have compression in parallel. That'd be too much. Nolly was doing this on his drum bus, so I just copied it. You can kind of play with the mix for how much room and cymbals you want. Then we have some saturation, a little bit of OTT without the top, and this is hardly doing anything. Just adding a small bit of excitement and sustain. A little subtle EQ here. Fine balancing, and then a limiter to catch peaks. Does it catch a peak? Yeah. A couple. Okay, I'll go over the master now. Now I'll get like a rough mix going, and then I'll put on compression, saturation, and then I'll mix a little bit more into that, and then the further I get along, the more I keep adding on. So maybe I'll do these, and then towards the end I'll do some clipping and maximizing, and then still even then after I'll keep mixing into that. So we have just rolling off 30 and 18K. I do that on everything. We have glue compression, and here I'll turn these off. Just listen to the snare. It really pushes it down into the mix. That's the goal of the bus compression, to push things that are poking out down into the mix and provide the glue. Then we have saturation, just a little bit of multiband compression, Oxford inflator. I don't really know what this does. It's like saturation and increases fatness. Warmer sound. And then slight balance adjustment. Very slight. A little bit of soothe on the master. Flatline. This is just a clipper catching peaks. And then maximizer. And that is it. This is only my second time doing a tutorial type thing, so I probably wasn't clear on many things. And if you have questions, I'll gladly answer them. Leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Okay, bye.